actually at the DreamHack tournament. This thing's huge. I won't be able to get all of the different angles I like, but the modern 10K, I think it is actually a qualifier. I kind of picked a deck I'm not that familiar with because I'm also wanting to do other things here, so if I lose out, then it'll be fine. But it should be a fun time. There's so many things going on, so many other esports, different events. I'm probably going to play in Smash, to be honest, but it's pretty sweet. It's all going to be, I don't know, most of the day, but there's way too many people here, so I'm going to try and just get right to it. Out so hard. Okay, so round one I played against Hammer Time, which I thought was a good matchup. And game one was going okay. I had a really good 7-card hand, like 3 lands, a bunch of spells, cascades, interaction. And he mulligans to 6, and kind of, I was on the play, and he plays out a couple like a Midnight, Scarzade, and he only has a couple cards in hand. I'm feeling good. And it's hard to say exactly what, but I think I played too conservatively. I wasn't willing to spend my Force of Negation in my hand early, even though he had very few cards. And he got a hammer in play, and I wasn't able to do anything about it immediately. But I figured I could take the hit, and when he got Pierce Up Pound down, I didn't really respect it enough that even though I dealt with the creature, you could just keep re-equipping. And just horrible play mistakes by my part. And ended up taking both of the games. Round 2 I played against Living In, which we did end up going to game 3, but honestly, it might have been some other play mistakes. I'm not performing well lately, so maybe I should just get more reps in with the deck, but this event was overall okay because I lost early enough where I had plenty of other things to do. Okay, I'm where the tournament hall was, and so I'm going to give you a brief look over the list. In case you weren't aware or familiar, I played Rhinos, Cascading Footfalls. And here is the effective version of the list. Now, this all looks pretty standard right here. Cards you're used to seeing. But if you're not familiar with it, it wants to play this card here. You make 2 4/4 Rhinos, no big deal. But, you know, instead of spinning it, you play one of these Cascade cards for 3 mana, which means everything else in your deck has to cost 3 or more mana. That's not a problem because we have plenty of ways of cheating that with split cards, adventure cards, cards that can cost 0, other cards that can cost 0. And if you're familiar with how a lot of this stuff works, it's not really a surprise. But instead of playing the traditional version, I decided to add white. So I got Solitude, Omnath, Teferi, and even a little extra spice, Touch the Spirit Realm. This is not a very good card on its own. It's a bad Oblivion Ring and a pretty bad Ephemerate. The fact that it can be both, that I can play in my Cascade deck, is pretty cool. So I can effectively ephemerate my Elementals, and I can actually target their creatures with the channel ability, and it's not a spell, so that's pretty cool. But my idea here is I wanted to go a little bit stronger of a mid-range game plan to beat Yorion and Blue-White, and I didn't play against the name, of course, but yeah, that's just how it works. The mana base isn't really all that bad. Pretty straightforward. I ended up on 24 lands, but I played the Valakut Awakening in the land slot. So pretty straightforward stuff here. It didn't end up so well for me, but a lot of it was my own play mistakes, so I'm not too worried about it. It's an experimental brew. I liked it in testing, and the deck's performance itself was fine. It was me. In sideboard, I decided to go with a relatively standard package here, but I wanted a 4th Fury. I thought it was pretty good, although I think I was wrong there. Instead of 4 Force of Vigor, although a lot don't play 4 anyway, I decided to go Wear and Tear because I don't have to always do it on their turn, and it's an extra white card for Solitude. I wanted Jace to go a little bit longer since I'm 2-for-1ing myself a lot, and then since I can't play Blood Moon, I decided to go with Ashiok to fight against big mana. So that's what I went with. I do think this deck is still pretty strong, and I'll be testing it locally a lot and maybe at some other qualifying events, but didn't work out for me this weekend, but no problem.